I struggled with my mental health for years. And when I finally got better and got back to work, I sat down in an office and I thought, now what? This cannot be it. This is not what I've been fighting so hard to get back to. So I decided to leave. I decided to start my own business and eventually to start my life as a digital nomad. And it has been one of the best things I have done for myself and for my mental health. So if you are sitting back home and thinking, wow, I really want to try out this digital nomad life, or maybe you already are a nomad, but you're worried about how your mental health is going to be impacted, and you want to have the conversations and listen to the conversations about mental health as a digital nomad and get tools, get tips, then this is the podcast for you. Okay, I gotta admit it. Starting a podcast was a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. A lot of people say it's gonna be easy, it's not that much work, but it is. It was both a lot of work with the planning and executing, but it was also such an emotional load for me. It was self development of speed, just like starting your own business, as I like to say, and I really had to face myself. Today, I am sitting on a beach instead of sitting in a bright white studio that I did before. And the reason is it just feels more right. Here's the thing. I could sit here and say that this is only a creative decision that I'm sitting here. And partly, yes, that is true. But also, I started a podcast back when I was in Chiang Mai. And I was like, oh, we should film it. And luckily enough, there is a great studio there where you can film it. So I went in, decided to do the whole filming, full on studio, and do the whole shabam. And I'm really glad I did. I am. It was a really cool experience. I learned a lot. It was crazy seeing myself in that setting. It all felt so professional. But it also made the stakes so high. I felt like I had to perform in a way. I felt like I had to show up differently. I felt like I had to get ready. I had to plan my hair washing days. I had to fix my nails and put on my makeup and wear different outfits. And it just took so much time. And that was just how my brain works. I wanted it to be perfect. But it was so overwhelming sitting there with three cameras on you, studio lighting, everything. And I just had felt like I had to perform. And it even turned out to be too overwhelming that I got too overwhelmed to even publish the podcast. I got help with the editing and I just froze. I completely froze. And I also felt like I almost burned out from doing this because partly it took time out of my day to record a podcast, but I kept thinking about it constantly and wanted to just perfect it. That it took such a toll on me that I was like, I can't do this. And I partly got really scared because showing up online and sitting talking to a camera is freaking scary. It just felt like too much and I just paused it all. I paused everything and eventually I was sitting there being like, wait, but I want to publish these episodes. I want to show what I have and what I did and these conversations I still had with these amazing women. I wanted to, once like you who want to be a nomad to be able to see that. So the podcast you've been seeing the last few months got published 4 months after they were supposed to be. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, can I self publish this? What am I going to do? Like, this is way too late. But they are conversations that would work whenever. And I think they're important still. And I felt like I want to stay true to myself and still publish them. So that's what I did. And now I'm kind of doing a little new take on it. And I realized that for me to be able to keep doing this podcast, as a nomad, I am not going to have access to a studio all the time. That is just not realistic. But also, I want you to see the real nomad life. And real nomad life is not sitting in a white, bright studio. It's just not. I wanted to be able to partly do the podcast wherever. So it might be more YouTube/podcast. We will see. But right now, I'm sitting on a beach. Like, this is my safe space. And that's why I wanted to record this new start here on the beach because this is my favorite place in the world. And I felt like if I'm going to do this, I want it to be more authentic. And I want you who are sitting at home and want to start nomad life, or if you are a nomad, see actually what the nomad life is like. And that is sometimes sitting on a beach, but we also all know that that is not all nomad life. But the conversations I have that make a difference are the ones I have with my friends when I sit at coffee shops. It is the random conversations I have with my friends on the beach. And it's not when I'm in a studio. So that's why I decided to now instead bring in people I find interesting. Because before I was also very like, I have to perform, and everything on the podcast has to be therapists or coaches or people with professional experience. And those people are going to come on again, I hope. But I also want to mix it up and also just have my friends on and have people I find interesting on, that are people that I know have worked on themselves, who also have struggled with mental health and just how they got started as nomads, and see what the real life is like. Not the polished version or just the professional version or the logic version, but just like the messy real life of being a nomad. Because so many of the people I meet have such amazing experiences to share. And if there's one thing that I've learned being a nomad, it is that everyone is going through something. It is so easy to look at people, you meet them, and everyone seems so happy-go-lucky. But once you sit down and have a conversation with people, you learn that everyone is struggling with something. Everyone is going through something. And there are so many nomads who have been through trauma, have been through burnout and started a new life. They're going through something right now. And I think that is so important to share. And people are going to come on and talk. And a lot of people are obviously not going to want to talk about the most private things and their deepest traumas. And that is not the point of this podcast. But the point is to know that you can live this life. And even if you have mental health struggles in your baggage, or even if you are struggling right now, it is possible to live this life, because nomads are going through it too. Just because we live by a beach does not mean that life is perfect. Yes, it makes it a lot easier when I wake up and I'm having a rough day and I can just walk down to the beach 5 minutes away. It makes my life a lot better. Immediately, I feel happier. And that is a part I love about being a nomad. But the thing is, it's not perfect. We have struggles. There are things we're going through. It's loneliness. It is burnout. It is being a business owner. And I want to have conversations that kind of represent that you get to hear from real life nomads. And everyone who has been on this podcast so far too has been nomads. But I want it to be people from all kind of businesses who do all kind of different things. And that's what we're going to do now. So this is kind of a new start, I guess, of Being a Lot podcast. We're going to film it at the beach. We're going to film it at my favorite cafes. You are going to hear the real life background noises of Vietnam, of beach waves, of the endless honking on the streets, and dogs and people talking in the background, and God knows what, because that's what it's going to be like. Because I feel like that is the real life here, and that's what I want to show you. I already started filming some conversations that are going to come out this summer. I am currently in Da Nang, and I am batching the content right now because I decided to start doing this again about 3 weeks before I'm going home for summer. So I'm just having a bunch of conversations that you guys will then see throughout the next few months. And I've already talked about friends who have started their content creation with art. I have talked with a friend who created an online community for business owners, an author who wrote a book about happiness, a friend who started a business, so struggled setting boundaries in the beginning of her business journey. And hopefully so many more will come on, and I will do some solo episodes as well. Might be some vlogging even, but me just talking about burnout. Might do one talking about being sober as a nomad. And we'll see what this turns out as. But I'm gonna try to stop putting so much pressure on myself, because I don't want to do that. I want to have these conversations because I know they're genuinely important to have, and because I am so passionate about this topic, and because nomad life has saved my mental health in so many ways. But that doesn't only mean that it is great all the time. And it took a lot to get here where I am today, where I'm actually doing well. So with that being said, welcome back to Being a Lot podcast. I really hope you will follow along. So hit follow if you haven't already, and we will do this whole thing together.